doesn't produce a fine save. It's still not over. There's the goal. Nigeria.
Algeria favor Nigeria to pick sole World Cup tickets in Group B. Premier League clubs vote to close transfer before season kickoff. Roger Federer crashes out of US Open. These and other buzzing sports stories to make up the show tonight. This is Sports Center. I am Juliet Mafua, also on the show. Anticipated debut show for Chamberlain and Mbampi. Another huge day in sports now. We've got the big headlines in graphics. Well, the international break may be over, but discussions on who gets to pick a ticket to Russia continues among fans, among the players, and even the federations. Nigerian Super Eagles have found an unlikely ally in Algeria. Now, with the World Cup dream already over, Algeria have chosen Nigeria's favorites in Group B. Algeria's coach, Lucas Alcaraz, has dismissed the chances of the Chipolo Polo of Zambia beating the Super Eagles. And that's despite Zambia surprisingly defeating Algeria 1-0 in Algiers to return to contention. Lucas Alcaraz believes Nigeria will prove too unstoppable. The Super Eagles face Zambia on October 7 in Uyo with only a draw enough to clinch the ticket to Russia. It promises to be a thrilling finale to the 2016-2017 Nigeria Professional Football League, and it's all happening this weekend. The title race has gone down to the wire, and about 6 clubs are battling it out to avoid the last slot on the relegation zone. Playing just their second season in the top flight, MFC are hoping to upstage Plateau United when they take on El Kanemi Warriors in Maiduguri. And the general manager of MFC, Emmanuel Adeyemi, and editor-in-chief of Niger Football League magazine, Ojekere Aikoje, discussed MFM's achievements this season. And that was during TVC News Nigeria Breakfast Show.
The coaches had made a list of the players that they want, and we've told our scouts and team managers to go after them because it's a continental game. I want to ensure that we represent not just Lagos State, but Nigeria in the continent. It's obvious that teams in Nigeria have not been doing well. Recently. Yeah, but I want to ensure that MFM succeeds. MFM sets a new record, sets a standard in Nigerian football.
So that means maybe it's possible that next season you are going to pay as much as maybe 2 million for one player per month?
It's possible. MFM is the richest club in Nigeria. That's the truth. So, and Daddy, Dr. Luka, has given us all we needed.
MFM against El Kanemi Warriors, the final league game for you. Do you think you can really win that match and win the league?
By the grace of God, everything is possible. But we are prepared. We are focused. As I'm talking to our boys, they are training at Prayer City. And we'll be leaving tomorrow. The boys are well motivated. They are in high spirits. And I believe that by the grace of God, we'll have the day.
Do you think MFM can really win it? Plateau is playing at home against Rangers. They are not good travelers. I need to stress that. Even if they beat El Kanemi, do you think that MFM will win this league or Plateau will still win it as a man who follows the league very well.
We had a discussion just before coming on. I told them, well, double celebration. They said triple. I said, no, it's double. They can't beat Academy in Maiduguri. The table is already set. Plateau will win the league. MFM second. I think they've done enough. The Champions League ticket. That's what I say. Plateau get the league. MFM second. They can't win in Maiduguri.
Did you hear that? The prayer won't change that, will it?
Prayer and silent
They'll do their best. I mean, they will do their best. No, that
we'll do our best.
I mean, it's even good that the title will be decided on the last day. That
yes.
for me is fantastic. But I think the title is for Plateau.
Enough prayers will be needed on final day. Well, divergent views as EPL clubs vote to short a transfer window before start of new season, and that's up next. Our Premier League clubs have voted to close the next summer's transfer window before the season starts. Now, the new deadline will mean clubs have just a month of solid dealings between the conclusion of the tournament and the start of the Premier League season. But foreign clubs will still be able to buy from English teams until the respective window closes. So from next season, the window will close at 5 p.m. on the Thursday, and that's before the Premier League season begins. And this comes after a number of Premier League managers and club officials complained about the negative impacts of transfer uncertainty and speculation on their players. When the European League season returns this weekend, where fans will be eager to see two players make the debut for the club sides. That's Kylian Mbappe for PSG, as well as Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain for Liverpool. Well, Chamberlain will be thrown into action against Manchester City on Saturday, but first will be Mbappe making his debut against FC Metz in Ligue 1. That's on Friday night.
England midfielder Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is still relishing his €35 million deadline day transfer from Arsenal to Liverpool. Chamberlain took a £60,000 pay cut to join the Reds, with the Gunners offering him a deal worth £180,000 a week. The former Arsenal midfielder has heaped praise on Liverpool coach Jurgen Klopp, saying the German's presence was a major factor in his move to the club.
As a neutral, watching him last season, he's a really interesting character and someone that seems very inspiring for people that aren't even involved in the club. You know, watching him, his passion and you know how much he cares about the game. And I think the thing that stood out for me was his relationship with the players. How close he seems to bond with the players on and off the field as well. And I think
it was like starting a new school for Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, but there were no first day nerves. The England star was all smiles, joking with his new teammate as he had his first training session under Jurgen Klopp, and true to form, was given a big hug by the German coach. Oxlade-Chamberlain believes Anfield is the place his top-start career can develop and allow him to fulfill the potential that marked him out as a potential England star from an early age.
That's massive, and that's definitely a big plus when you're looking to progress and have that relationship with a manager. I think that definitely helps, and then obviously the way his teams play, and he gets the boys playing. That's definitely inspirational as well for me, and was one of the instrumental, if not the main reason why I felt that this place was definitely the place for me.
Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger has wished Chamberlain the best of luck at his new club, where he believes his departure could allow new talent to come through the ranks.
They wish him all the best, you know, and thankful for what he has done here. At the end of the day, you make decisions that you choose one or the other one. We had to sell somebody. Sometimes the fact doesn't take anything away from the quality of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who I think is a great player. But sometimes it opens the door for some younger players like Nelson or Joe Willock, or players who are in behind, you know, and get an opportunity that they wouldn't get.
The deadline day signing from Arsenal, a player club believes can become a Liverpool great, adds more firepower to an attack already boasting Sadio Mane and Roberto Firmino.
Oui, il est prêt.
In the meantime, Paris Saint-Germain coach Unai Emery says the new signing Kylian Mbappe will fit in well at PSG. Emery reveals Mbappe is ready to play and may make his debut in the club's next match against Metz on Friday.
I think he's 18. He's got great maturity, enabling him to join the group, to join PSG in the tactics and in the game. With the other players in the center and in the midfield, he will do well.
On his part, Mbappe says he has a lot to learn from his new teammates and cannot wait to make his debut.
I'm coming with a particular status. Maybe I'm coming into a locker room where I have the shortest trophy list. So you have to be humble and start off by learning, because I have a lot to learn from players who are here. As I said, there are players who for the most part have won everything at an international and European level, and it will be an enriching experience for me. I have a lot to learn and a lot to prove.
Mbappe joined PSG on an initial season-long loan from Monaco. PSG will complete a permanent deal for the forward in 12 months' time in a deal worth about 180 million euros, which will make him the world's second most expensive player.
Still ahead. Wenger adamant Alexis Sanchez is focused on Arsenal. It is widely believed if Arsenal are to achieve anything this season, they will have Alexis Sanchez. They will have to make him happy. He's arguably the best player in top form. Sanchez returns to Arsenal's training ground for the first time since his failed £60 million move to Manchester City. And manager Arsene Wenger is expecting no issues regarding his attitude. And this comes after Sanchez appeared to make clear his disappointment at being denied his transfer on social media. Now, Wenger is insisting he has no doubt about Sanchez's mind being elsewhere when back with Arsenal. A home match against Bournemouth at the weekend seems like a good opportunity to examine his focus.
About Alex's mind and mentality, you know, that people question. I think he needs to come back to full fitness. What he was not at Liverpool, it was his first game, and he suffered a negative experience now with Chile, but he's strong mentally, and hopefully he will be back very quickly to his best.
Tennis, Rafael Nadal brushed up for Andrei Rublev to reach the US Open. And for Nadal, he got to the semi-final, eagerly waiting to face his rival, Roger Federer, for the first time. That's in the US Open. But that wait will continue as Federer got knocked out in the quarterfinal. This is the 6th time Federer and Nadal have come within just one match of meeting in the US Open, and fans will just be left hoping.
Roger Federer is out of the US Open following a 4-set defeat by Juan Martín del Potro, ending any hopes of facing long-time rival Rafael Nadal in New York, at least for this year. Their 37 career meetings will not include a matchup in New York after the ghost of the 2009 final seemed to revisit Federer as he was beaten 7-5, 3-6, 7-6, 6-4 by Del Potro in the quarterfinals. The Argentine Del Potro goes on to face Nadal in a mouth-watering clash in the semi-finals.
Game 7 nice Del Potro. 3 sets to 1. 7-5, 3-6, 7-6, 6-4.
Nadal had earlier thrashed 19-year-old Andrei Rublev 6-1, 6-2, 6-2 in 1 hour 37 minutes to book a place in the last 4. In the women's draw, 2 All-American semi-finals will take place on day 11 of the US Open as Venus Williams plays Sloane Stephens and Coco van der Ven faces Madison Keys. It is the first all-US last 4 lineup at the tournament since 1981. Williams and Stephens both won final set tie-breaks to reach this stage against Petra Kvitova and Anastasia Sevastova.
All right, so we'll be going back to the story of the Premier League, voting to shut down the transfer window just right before the season kicks off. And we have sports journalist Calvin Onwuka joining us via Skype from London. Hello, Calvin. It's good to have you join us.
Hi, Juliet.
All right,
thanks for having me.
The EPL transfer window closing before the start of the season. We understand the decision was not unanimous. 5 clubs voted against the change, including Manchester United and Manchester City. So is this because it wouldn't favor the top clubs with the spending power?
Sincerely, I'm not even sure why these people have decided to make this decision, especially because it is not like it's a stop. It will stop them from selling players. It will only stop them from buying players. It will stop them from buying players from within and outside. It's not. I don't even think it's a well thought out decision. I sincerely, I'm baffled at the decision completely, and I'm not surprised the major clubs did not go with it. Somehow, I don't know. Somehow this will not last. See, this is what I think will happen. It's either come by this time next year, they'll probably rescind the decision, or they're going to they're going to try to get the whole of Europe to agree with this. And I don't see the latter happening at all.
Okay, what it means is it gives clubs around a month, possibly less, to do most of their business. I'm sure it would trigger clubs to get their house in order quicker than before. But will it bring an end to the frantic deadline day moves we've gotten used to?
Definitely, it would. It would bring. See, I have never been a fan of the transfer window, deadline day, and all the nonsense that goes on with it. So, but for what this one would definitely do is that it will stop that. It would stop that. It will make sure that incomings are sorted long before the first match is kicked, which according to what I read and what they said, next season starts on August the 9th. So everything will be done before August the 9th. So which means that the deadline they would have will be August the 8th instead of August 31st. We're still going to have deadline day at this rate, but it will be August the 8th, and it will be just before the season starts, which on the one hand seems a good idea, but the fact that it does not affect all of Europe makes it not such a clever move at all.
Okay, the concerns by some of the clubs is although they wouldn't be able to buy any more players, their players could still be picked up by those who haven't closed their windows, like you mentioned earlier on. So how will it put an end to speculation and the uncertainty that gets to surround the player of interest to clubs abroad?
It doesn't. That's why I'm mystified by the whole thing. For instance, we know how much Coutinho, how Barcelona supposedly sought after Coutinho. Now, even if this same scenario was in play at this time, it still would have continued. Mahrez was wanted by clubs outside of England, so it still would have continued because it does not stop players from leaving. It does not change anything drastically. It's still the same. But what does not happen is that English teams, Premier League sides, now lose. They will not be able to engage in buying players even if they wanted to. So that's why I'm quite mystified by the whole thing, to be honest with you.
Okay, it will really be interesting to see how all of it plays out. Thank you very much for your time, Calvin Onwuka.
My pleasure, Juliet.
Okay, then so we'll go back now and talk about the NPFL season finale. And I'm now joined by sports journalist Deji Faremi, also via Skype in Lagos. Good to have you, Deji.
Yeah, a pleasure as always, Juliet. Nice to be on the show once again.
Okay, there. So whatever happens on final day, MFC are guaranteed a Champions League spot. That's a massive achievement for the Lagos side after battling relegation last time out.
Absolutely. I think it's really exciting, you know, for MFM. I was listening to the coach a couple of days ago, and he said that he thought that they were going to make it onto the continent. But then, you know, I'll be honest with you, Juliet, I really doubted it. I, you know, thought going into the season that MFM's major targets would be staying up in the league. What they've done this season is they started very early, they consolidated later on in the league season, and towards the end, you know, somewhere in there, they just realized that they could indeed make it onto the continent. So, yeah, I'm excited for them. Congratulations to MFM fans. Congratulations to Lagos fans or football fans in Lagos, and particularly MFM fans. But then what it does is it brings continental football onto Lagos. I'm sure so many fans in Lagos will be excited to go to the stadium to watch football.
All right, our former NFF member, that's Chris Green, did say back then that Nigerian clubs do not perform well because the best clubs are robbed of representing the country. Now, that said, in Plateau United and MFMFC, will you say Nigeria has the best teams on the continent this time?
You know, Juliet, if you want to go historically, it's a bit difficult to say that. So, of course, you're looking at Eimba, for instance. You're looking at Kano Pillars. You know, these sides aren't making it this season. Eimba could yet make it, pardon me. But then Kano Pillars, for instance, aren't making it. And so you could say, well, not our best teams. But when you look at how the season has panned out, and you look at the Plateau United, for instance, they're not just the side on top of the league. They are the side with the best away record this season so far. 12 points they've amassed away from home this season. So it tells you a lot about, you know, how much they can do for the country, especially when they travel to those really tough grounds. I'd say on the balance of the football we've seen this season, yes, definitely we have the two best sides making it into the CAF Champions League. And, you know, it will be a bit disrespectful to take the credit away for them and say, you know, because they aren't flamboyant sides, because they aren't big sides, and they don't deserve to represent the country. So, yes, all due respect to Chris Green, but Plateau United, MFM, definitely the two best sides in the league this season. I'd say well-deserved.
All right, then, thank you very much, Deji Farimi, for your time with us.
A pleasure as always, Juliet. Nice to be here.
All right, Bollywood meets sports in India as a celebrity and tennis fan Neha Dupia joined former WTA world #1 doubles player Sania Mirza as both are looking to transform the sport in Asia. Well, Mirza feels tennis in Asia needs more female role models. She spent time on court with youngsters, inspiring them as one of the country's greatest talents.
From courts made of manure to her own tennis academy, former WTA world #1 doubles player Sania Mirza has seen the sports transform in India.
I used to play on courts made out of cow dung, you know, and there was no courts to play on. Today we've got an academy like this. As you can see, we've got WTAs that have happened here. We've got stadiums, we've got huge stadiums in every city of the country, and so, you know, that stuff has changed. That never used to be there.
Despite the growth of the sport in India, as a young tennis player, Mirza feels there is a lack of female role models in India. Mirza is delighted to take some time out from the WTA circuit to develop young and upcoming athletes at her academy in Hyderabad, India.
We've had Rohan Bopanna, who won a slam a few weeks ago. We've had Mahesh Bhupati, who's won 12 Grand Slams. Yeah, unfortunately, we've not had many women that we can really say, you know, this is, and that's the reason I'm here today, and I feel that it's very important and necessary for us to do things like this to encourage more girls to play the sport.
The session was part of the WTA Future Stars initiative, a platform to encourage the young generation of female talent to pursue their passion in tennis. As part of the program, the WTA also works with players like Mirza to reach out to the youth throughout the Asia-Pacific region to inspire them through clinics and sharing sessions.
We don't want tennis to go back to where it was 20 years ago. We want it to keep moving forward. So that's the reason, you know, every time an opportunity like this comes up, I'm like, I'll go, you know, because for me, it is very important. And I truly believe that, you know, we are in a position to make that difference, and hopefully events like this will bring more kids towards this wonderful game.
Mirza spent time on court at her tennis academy sharing tips with some of the local junior players and also introducing the sport to a group of children from the Freedom Again Foundation. The clinic is also an opportunity for the WTA to give back to the community and children from the charity Freedom Again Foundation.
To help any kind of children that don't have the opportunity that we've had is extremely special, and tennis is a way of, like I said, you can enjoy it, you can love it, and it's a way of giving, and it can bring so much happiness. And I hope that we are able to do that to these special children, and I'm so glad to be associated with this.
Mirza had joining her Bollywood celebrity and tennis fan Neza Dupia. Mirza spent time on court with the youngsters.
What an interesting one there. Well, that will be it on the show. Thank you so much for staying with us. It's been Sports Center. My name is Juliet Mafua. Bye for now.